welcome to Romantic Wednesdays with Poetry. I'm Alisa Agnes, your host, and I believe it's time to get real and spill some tea or coffee. So, today I will continue talking about next two short poetical stories, and today you will learn more about leaf and storm. Well, so today we have this kind of episode when the leaf and storm meet, and it's maybe a future romance of such two names, who knows. So maybe at first I will read you leaf, and later I will tell you a few words about this story. I will tell you what inspired me, what it's about, why I wrote such a short story and stuff like that. So that's leaf. Each wave shattered the leaf nerves. The dewdrops on its delicate membrane laughed with daylight. And it was floating and floating. It watched people on the sailboats and was smoking in beaver eyes. It was always passing by, unnoticed, like the average pug, after the sunset. So, that's it. It's a short story about a leaf which is floating on the water somewhere, and it's like the description of its adventures, and you can also see the description of this leaf and of those two dewdrops on its delicate membrane. So it sounds very political, and that's why I decided to put it in my poetry book. But why it was written? Well, I had such a exercise during the university course, which was about writing scripts, movie scripts, and one of those lessons, classes, was about writing this kind of thing, like this story called Leaf, and I wrote it for that class, and that teacher, was like, wow, it's so poetic. And I really liked the story, and I was really proud of this, and that's why it's a part of this book right now, and that's why I talk about the leaf right now. So, it's something like a very short story which could show literally the scene of the leaf floating on water, and at the same time it sounds very poetical, so maybe such words could be the narration somewhere in the background. And this way I think this vision is really nice, and I'm really happy that I can tell you more about this right now. But maybe now that's all that I can tell you about the leaf, so maybe let's talk about the second story. It's called Storm. So at first I will read you this short story, and later I will tell you a few words about the meaning, about the purpose, and what inspired me in such things. So that's Storm. Hatred can be spilled easily, but you can also get up and say, enough. But then an even greater wave will come and take with it the most precious treasure. Just accept your fate, human, before or after the storm. What's the difference? The storm must do its eternal job anyway, and drown the boxes of cold of your soul. So this story is about the storm, but it's obviously the metaphor of fate. And sometimes we don't want it, but such things happen, like we lose people, we lose stuff, and it's this kind of storm, and I just felt like it's important to accept our fate sometimes, because maybe we will suffer less, then who knows. And if fate is such a thing that must do its job no matter if we want it or not, then maybe it doesn't really matter if we accept the fate before the storm or after the storm. So it's like the fate doesn't care about our feelings, because it must do what must be done anyway. And this is the main idea of this story. But it's also about hatred. I've experienced a lot of hatred in my life, and I've noticed that sometimes when we want to see it end and we say enough, then it can only become bigger. And I decided to compare it to the wave and the storm, and it's like a bigger wave which comes after that smaller. So sometimes we really want the hatred to end, but all we really can do is just stay calm, and sometimes it's all that we can do is just be impatient. So that's the first thought that opens the story, but the main idea is about the fate, but hatred is also important. But it's like hatred and fate. These two things are like a storm and like a wave. But I feel like the final conclusion is the most important here, and that's why I began from talking about the fate. Okay, so that's all today. Thank you so much for listening. Right now I will tell you what to expect in the next episode, and it will be everything today. So the next title is called Someone's Name Eros. So it's a a story about mythology and love. The second title is Milk, and it's kind of similar to Storm, but it's shorter. These two stories are shorter in general. So now you know what to expect in the next episode, so I can only tell you now. Until the next time, yes. Bye!